Okay, picking up where we left off, we were talking about how you can create a style in two different techniques. The first technique is you open the style first and you explicitly go in and edit and modify all the things you want. And that's great for something that's complex. But for something that's kind of simple, it's almost like do by example. So the other technique is you format it the way you want, and then after it's formatted, you tell it, I want to use that particular style. Now, you kind of have to be careful which one you pick. For example, I picked heading 1. I didn't pick whatever this one is. Okay? So I'm going to create a heading 2. So I'm just going to go here to a new paragraph here and create something called secondary heading. Okay, now first of all, once again, this is a new paragraph, and so it does an indent thing to me, and I don't really want the indent. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to make that indent go away. And then requirement for APA for secondary headings is it's bold and flush against the left margin. That's it. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to light this thing up, and I'm going to go to heading 2, right click, and say update heading 2 to match what I did. Cool. Alright, there I did. Now the reason why I'm done, so now I have 3 updated styles. I have the APA one, which is the main body of the document, a heading 1 version, and a heading 2 version. Okay, cool. So let's go down here and let's create another major heading. So second major heading. Now all I have to do now to make it fit the right style is to light this guy up and hit heading 1. I hit this button and doink, it automatically does it. I don't have to think about it. I didn't have to go over there and make the margin thing go away or anything like that. Likewise, let's do it one more time. This would be secondary. Boy, that doesn't make any sense. So once again, what I had to do before, I had to go in there and manually make that little thing go away for the indent, then turn it to bold. I don't have to do that now. I can just light this guy up and hit the second button. Doink. Okay, cool, huh? So this makes things go easy. Now there is an extra benefit if you use the style features with headings, and that is the machine is kind of sort of now aware that your document has structure. It's got major headings and secondary headings, so wouldn't it be kind of cool if you could use that somehow? Well, I go here to view. One of the things you can do is go to the outline view, and the outline view now has your major headings and secondary headings all built in. This is a pretty cool feature, and you can do some things where you can collapse sections and do all sorts of stuff. Again, this has got nothing to do with APA. It's just a cool feature of Microsoft Word if you use those styles for headings. Cool. Alright, so one more time. Up here in the corner, there's this one used to say normal. Okay, that's the one that I kind of took over and renamed. I didn't rename this one, so I'm using the heading 1 version and the heading 2 version. I'm currently not using this one at all, but there's no harm leaving it there. I'm just not using it. Cool? Alright. Alright, a couple more things that we need to do, and this is a little weird. In APA world, this header across the top, and by the way, I call this a heading, and I call that a header. Header and footer. I know it's kind of confusing sometimes. Well, it's something a little odd, and that is sometimes you want the heading, I said it wrong, the header on the first page to be slightly different than all subsequent pages. I know, isn't that kind of weird? I didn't write the APA standard, but that's one of the requirements, is the very, very first page, the title page of your document, has to have a different heading than all the rest of your document. Hey, go figure. Alright, so I'm just going to go down to here and create me a blank page. Now, how do I do that? Well, I could insert a page break. That's one technique, and which means I would go here to the Insert tab and hit this little guy called Page Break. But I got this one memorized. It's the Control and then hit the Enter or the Return key, whatever that key is on your keyboard. So holding the Control key down with one finger and hitting Return. And doink, now it gets me to my second page. Cool. Now, to get back to the header view, remember header was in Insert? So I could, one way to do it is to go here to Header, and way down at the bottom is Edit Header. Okay, that's one way. Another way is just to double click inside the header. All right, that's what I'm going to do. So right now, this is the text I can edit, and this I can't. So if I double click, doink doink, now I'm in a different world, and now I can only edit the header, and I can't edit anything else. So one of the options is different on the first page. Very cool. That's precisely what I wanted. There are also some other ones. If you're doing desktop publishing and you've got a binding and you've got left-facing pages and right-facing pages, you probably want the page number on the left to be in the upper left-hand corner, and you want the page number on the right to be in the upper right-hand corner. So you have to keep track of odd and even pages depending on where you want. So you want page number over here, you want page number over there. Okay, we're not doing that here, but it's just a cool feature. So I'm going to click this little button. So boink, and right off the bat it erased all my stuff. I'm thinking, oh man. But luckily it left all the formatting in place. Okay, so I don't really need, yes, I could go through here and go here and pick that guy over again. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to manually do what I did before. So I'm going to make the first line indent go away temporarily. And trust me, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but I did not write the APA standard, so don't kill the messenger. You type the words running head colon. If you're nodding your head going, what the hell? Well, trust me. On the first page, it's running head colon and then the title, some poem. Okay? And then over here, all I have to do is just click. Now, how do I get my cursor to go way over here on this right-hand margin? That's a kind of a cool trick. Well, believe it or not, it's done with tab stops. There is a tab stop right here. Let me zoom in. So that is a particular type of tab stop. That's called a center tab. Because you remember when we first built this thing, we had something in the center, and I deleted it. Cool. And then over here, this is a particular type of tab called a left tab. Okay? Most tabs move things, or perhaps that's called a right tab. Yeah, I guess it is called a right tab. Okay. So what I want is I want to get to that second tab stop, which is going to be flush against the right-hand margin. So I just use the tab key twice. Once it's going to make it line up in that center position. I'm not using that one, so I just ignore it. Hit the tab key a second time, and doink! Now it's way over here, hugging that margin. Cool. And so I want to insert the page number just like we did before. So I go here to page number, and I want to do it at the current position and the plane. All right, cool. So I'm kind of sort of okay here. Let me just scroll down and look to see what this looks like. Okay, that one looks good, and that one's different. So I'm just going to hit the close button like we did before. Okay. So now the heading on my first page, the very, very first page, is somehow different than the heading on all subsequent pages. Now this is a little tricky, and to tell you the truth, it's frustrating. I've spent some time, lots and lots of time, trying to figure out how come my heading didn't come appear here, and it doesn't appear on page 3, but it does on page 4, and it's complex. So if you do it precisely the way I did it, in the order in which I did it, for example, don't go down here, right? Don't click here and go click that button, okay? If you're at the first and do that, turn that on, it will obliterate the one that you're on, okay? So let's say I'd already finished my entire document, okay? And all I want to do is to mess with the first one. I go to the first one and say I want it different on the first page. It'll obliterate the first one, but it won't do the others. Cool? Okay, cool. Alright, so that is that part of the document. Okay, now we're going to do citations. One of the major portions of doing a research paper is you're supposed to cite your work. And there's a specific format for doing that. And Microsoft Word makes it extremely easy to do this, okay? We're going to go to the references section. So let's say right here, where the cursor is, right here, I want to add a reference, okay? So I go here, and one of the styles here is what is APA, and I want APA 6th edition. Okay, and there's obviously lots and lots of different styles, but I want APA 6th edition. Cool. That's going to be now my reference guy. So right here where the cursor is, I want to insert a citation. Cool. And so I hit insert, and it could be from a new source, or it could be one that I've already done, but I'm just going to pretend like it's a new one. So a new source for my stuff. Now it's going to ask me what kind. Is it a magazine? Is it a book? Is it a website? Is it a journal? You know, all these types of things, because the specific formats for all that kind of data is very complex, and it varies between what type of document you have. So let's pretend like I have a book, and the author is going to be, I don't know, John Doe. The title is going to be, I don't know, The Flaming Kumquat. And it was published in 2009 in the city of Killeen, Texas. And the publisher is Kumquat Press. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm doing two things. I'm building a source inside my document. Okay, now it's that all the stuff that I typed here is not going to appear where my cursor is. So it's two steps. One is I'm building the reference source, and then the second step is it's going to put something in my document. Cool. So I'm going to hit the OK button. Doink. And what it did is it put something in parentheses, and it automatically manages these things. Now, notice that when I hover over this thing, it kind of gets a little shaded gray. It's maybe a little hard to see where it's all shaded. That means this is an automatically generated portion of my document, and you really ought to not be in there messing. Okay? That's essentially what that means. So I've inserted a reference in my document. Now, let's say I might reference it 2 or 3 times. Okay, so maybe down here, I'm going to reference that exact same document right here. So I'm going to do insert citation. Well, it already kind of knows about this one, right? Because it's building that list as we go, so I don't have to build it a second time. So I can just say, yeah, that's what I want. Cool? All right. So now that I've built the citation, I have to have a citation section. And in APA, it goes at the very, very, very end of the document. So I'm just going to go down here to the end. And one of the things I need is one of those headings, right? And unfortunately, this is one of those odd headings that doesn't follow the rules. So I can't use this guy because it's not supposed to be bold. Hey, like I said, I don't make up these stupid rules. So I'm going to call it references. That's it. And I'm going to center it. That's all I'm going to do. Now, I could go in here and create another type of heading, but it really isn't a heading 1, and it really isn't a heading 2. It's kind of an oddball. So I don't usually create headings for things that are odd. Okay? All right, so now that I've got this guy. So now what I want to do is I want the machine to produce the reference section here in precise APA format. Now, it appeared twice in my document, but in here, it only appears once. Cool? All right. So I go back to references, and it says now, are you ready for the bibliography? And I say, yes, I am. And there's a little down arrow, and it basically says there's lots of different types. What I want to do is I don't want to mess with any of the formats. In other words, I don't want the word bibliography written up there, and I don't want the word works cited. I just want just the bibliography without anything else. So I just hit this little button right here. Doink. Ta-da! And there it has done my thing. It has correctly got the author, the year. It's got the title of the book in italics. It's got the publisher and the city and all these things, and it's done it precisely in APA format. Your professors will love this, okay? All right, we're coming up on the 15-minute mark. This is probably a good place to stop.